Hey everyone, welcome back to Mama Genius podcast / festival. Today we got Josie coming on. We have had extraordinary women just coming on here sharing their genius, and Josie is no exception to that. She's going to actually be talking to us about your uniqueness, how to find it, how to show what makes you stand out, and how to make that powerful. Let's stop hiding behind trying to be like everyone else, and let's get in there and find what makes us unique. And Josie is really going to help us do that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Mama Genius Hub podcast, where we support moms with big dreams from entrepreneurship to personal aspirations. Welcome to Mama Genius Hub podcast, where we support moms with big dreams from entrepreneurship to personal aspirations. I'm your host, Michelle Teyser, and I'm here to help you unlock your potential in all areas of life. Join us as we explore strategies for thriving in motherhood while pursuing the dreams, the key to actually unlocking your genius. Subscribe now and embark on a journey to realize your fullest potential. And we got Josie Lepore Freeborn, who's a dynamic force behind mompreneur empowerment and soulful sales mastery. How we're going to put those two together. With 30 years of experience in sales and marketing, Josie is renowned for her ability to ignite confidence and spark sales success. Don't we need that, women? In women entrepreneurs. I didn't even finish the sentence. I just already started saying that. From hosting transformational events to sharing stages with industrial thought leaders, Josie is on a mission to empower mompreneurs worldwide. Get ready to unlock your mompreneur potential and thrive in life with Josie by your side, because we're going to unlock that uniqueness, because all of us have that genius inside of us. Welcome to the stage, Josie. I'm so excited to have you today.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. I'm so excited to be here with you too. And wow, thank you for that introduction. That was just heartfelt.
Oh, well, I know where your heart is and where your uniqueness is in fighting for women, and I want to make sure they know it.
So exciting. I hope so.
No, we know so.
You're right.
On that note, I'd love to hear how the festival is going for you.
Wow, I got to tell you, it's so busy. Like, it's amazing to go in and listen to all the other fellow speakers and interact with the attendees. I love the fact that there's so much diversity that everybody can pick and choose where they want to fit in, what they want to listen to, and that I get to be part of that, a small part of what you've put together. So, way to go, Michelle. It's amazing.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just so inspired by the collective of bringing these unique voices together. And I love how you put that unique out there, because no message is the same. We've had women speak on the same topic, but their message is completely different in the way it comes across and the ideas and the perspective it changes. That there's no one way to do this. A lot of moms talk about ADHD, but everyone does it a different way with different ways and different things to get there. So if you're in that struggle, like, there's so many different ideas out there in different ways. And that's what this is about, is realizing that Josie's the perfect person to help us with this, is that even if someone else is doing that topic, no one is going to do it like you. And Josie's going to help us bring out that uniqueness in you, to show you, to prove to you that no one else is doing it. But first, I got to step in and know, what is your why behind that?
Whew. Well, my why started back when I decided I was not going to step into the workforce again. After I had a few accidents back to back, I left a job that I really enjoyed. I was a radio marketing professional, and my background was in sales and marketing right from the time I was like this big, probably. And so I grew into being confident in sales and marketing, but I got really tired of it. And so I started learning about health and wellness and taking care of ourselves.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I was in a really bad space in where I was working. The job itself was exciting and I loved it, but it wasn't a good environment at the time for me where I was in my life. And so I ended up having three accidents back to back to back, as if the first one didn't put me out of work. The second one came in and crashed me literally in the back of my car. And then the third one, 10 weeks later, all within a 3 month period, came and crashed me to actually put me out of work. And I had 2 years off to think about where I truly wanted to be. And I really thought that I should get back into that. I should, because that's what I believed I needed to do. But during that time, I actually met the man who's my husband now. And then I ended up getting married and having two children all within a short period of time. And that led me to believe that to understand and truly realize that I am destined to be a mom, which I always knew. Mom first, business second in my life. But I had it backwards. And because I had it backwards, nothing was coming together. So my why actually is my family, my children, my husband, and I need to be present. I know deep in my heart, I want to be present with them, especially after the events of 4 years ago, the global uncertainty. I became a homeschooling mama, and that just really solidified even the fact that I really wanted to be with them and have the ability to be with them, to go on field trips, to be there when they're sick. And so I ventured out to say, I am never going to head back to the 9 to 5 job or, a retail job like I used to work. And I determined that being an entrepreneur was the best way to do that. And so it took me a while to get to where I am now because I tried different things and some things worked, some things didn't. But within each thing, I discovered a part of me that I didn't know about before. And so here I am. So my why in the nutshell is truly my family so that I can be home and present with them and still have the entrepreneur journey that I really did know in my heart that I desired as well.
I love that so much. And you actually just made this statement pop into my head because I didn't end up making it camping last weekend because like I said, I planned originally to break those 4 days from the festival. However, I didn't foresee how big the festival would get. And so I just needed that time. And I guess my daughter had said to my husband, why can't she just have a normal job like everyone else? And then his response to her is like, well, she's home all the time in the afternoons and these things, and you can't have it both ways. I mean, there are some times when I had to say no to something like that, but originally I hadn't. I had planned for it, but then, things happen. But it was just coming back and going like, who's there after school every day? Like, even if I'm on a call or something, like I'm around, I'm there, and then I'm out to go see how you're doing. And she's like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that brings it right around even for me. Like I have asked my children before, would you rather me have a job like my husband's a teacher? Would you rather me have a job like that? And both their response was no. And so I'm grateful for that, but I'm sure there's times where they're like, "Oh shoot, mom's on a call and I really want her to do something else." But the reality is I get to be at their school. I get to volunteer. They like that. I get to go on field trips because I can arrange my schedule around that. And when they see me on my own calls, I can be on a call in the dining room while they're doing their homework in the other room and I'm still present. And that's what it really fills my heart. And they understand, yep, mom does have some parts of her job that we might not like because I'm not instant for them. But it's still
true of any job. I mean,
right.
If we'd be out of the house more and there'd be different things going on. And so it's just funny though, when you think about it and the perspective of it. And it was true actually, because that the Friday before the camping, I did take the day off to go do the field trip with her 5th grade class and stuff. And so it is that flexibility and being able to plan those things out, but then making sure that you do schedule things. And so again, that all comes back to organization and all of that. But just really coming in, what this really comes down to though, is finding that calling inside of us. And I love that you're here to help us see that because like I said, throughout this festival, we've had women speaking on the same topic, but I've watched all of it and the messaging that comes across, even if it is the same topic, is so unique. And I know that you are one of those people to help us pull that out. So we're going to take a brief break and then we'll be back to discuss how to figure that out. Oops. Attention mompreneurs. Do you feel like you're constantly juggling the responsibilities without a moment to yourself? It's time to pause and reflect with our Mama Genius quiz. Tailored for busy mamas like you, this quiz will help you identify what's blocking your path and inspire you to harness your unique strengths, transform how you manage life and business, find your rhythm, and ignite your joy. Visit mamageniushub.com today to discover your Mama Genius. Again, that's mamageniushub.com. So get into that quiz, discover your Mama Genius, and then Josie's going to help us figure out what to do with that uniqueness right now.
Yes, yes. I always say something very important is to find out what makes you stand out. I mean, it doesn't have to be pink hair like me, but what makes you stand out. And that is so important because in this world, especially online, with so many of us building our businesses now online, 4 years ago, many of us were in person and it was a little bit easier to connect with people in that way because you have that physical, yeah, you can shake somebody's hand, you can touch their shoulders, but we learned a whole new way of doing business. And I think it's wonderful because we all get to be, I mean, I'm in Ontario, Canada, and you're in the United States. Like, I mean, I would not have met you if it wasn't for this amazing platform and this online that we all were trying to figure out 4 years ago. How do I do it? And one of the biggest things that I always say to everybody who I connect with globally is finding out what makes you unique in your sales, in your marketing, as a mom entrepreneur, as a woman entrepreneur, even as a man. But we're talking specifically to mamas here, mama entrepreneurs. And searching for that can sometimes feel very daunting. Like you search your soul. I think of Kevin Costner's song, "Search Your Heart, Search Your Soul." I won't sing, but that's not my forte. But really, when you're searching your heart and searching your soul, sometimes it can be really hard to go, what makes me stand out? What makes me unique? Even myself, as a professional in sales and marketing and a mom entrepreneur who works with other people, I actually had to go to one of my closest and dearest marketing friends to say, I need your help. And he looked at me and says, "What are you talking about? You helped me with my business." And I said, "I'm too close to myself.
It's so true.
I know, I think in my head, but I need you to look at me and tell me what you see." And he says, "Well, what do you mean?" And I says, "What do you see as me, not just as a mom, as a friend, but in my business?" Because he has an idea, he knows what I do. We talk about it all the time. And he helped me pick out, like he says, "I see you as the marketing master for mompreneurs. I see you as that business consultant for mompreneurs, but mostly I see you as a person who can help people uniquely stand out." And when he said that, it's like I got chills up my spine and I'm like, this is right. This is exactly what I needed to hear. And it was as if, whatever you believe in, the divine power coming to me saying, that's exactly what you need to learn about yourself. And so, because I've been doing it all along, but I didn't have the name to it, I didn't have the word to it, and I didn't have somebody pull it out for me. Because I'm able to see you, Michelle, or to see, somebody else who I'm working with, and just talking to you, I say, "Oh, this is good. Let's help you. Do you want to go with that?" It's not my job to do it for you, but to say, "What do you think about this?" And
Yeah.
that is so exciting for me.
I love that so much. And it's so true that like when it's you, like you're just too close to it. And I always love the story now of like when I'm helping Liam with something and like his plans for things, and all of a sudden I'm like, this is what my husband's been feeling all along with my like pitch, like all over the place. I'm like, just pick one thing. And then I was like, oh, but it's so much different when you're doing it for someone else and able to give them that perspective. Because when you're inside your own head, you're just like ping, 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 ping. And there's too many pings. But then you, Josie, are able to show me what those pings look like together.
Yes, 100%. Because I too have the ping, 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 pings that go on. And so I realized very quickly that people, just because for me it was hard, I didn't think it was just as hard for other people. And the reality is, it is. And so if I can speak to somebody and just get to know them and learn. So working with moms who really don't know where their strengths are or their mom geniuses are. And you'd be surprised at how many mom entrepreneurs who have never even been an entrepreneur think they have no skills, think they have nothing unique about themselves. And in just talking to them what they've done as a mother, those are the skills that I then can help you pull out and say, "Hey, as a mom, aren't you a referee? Hey, as a mom, aren't you a cook? Aren't you a cleaning lady? Aren't you this? Aren't you that?" And then what skills do you need in each of those categories of work? And now let's take those skills out and build a resume of entrepreneurship for you to be able to market yourself. And I actually helped one of my dear friends for the last 11 years I've known her. She said to me, "I have no skills. I don't know what I'm going to do when all my kids are gone to school." And we worked a little bit and helped her figure things out. And lo and behold, just a few months ago, she actually got hired at the school board as an emergency education assistant. And she thought she had no skills, no education, nothing. And we pulled them out And now she pops around and she's so confident, and it just warms my heart. And I'm like, oh, I get to help people with that.
Well, it's so true because first of all, moms never give themselves credit. Secondly, like there are so many different things that we're putting different hats on and things as a mom, but then we're also like, maybe you're better at cleaning the house than others, or better at the cooking, putting stuff together for the kids, and figuring out those things that you like naturally gravitate from all the things that you're doing and you actually enjoy doing. I love that, because then that's where you go with entrepreneurship, with that you're showing kids how to cook or whatever it is that you gravitate. I love all the moms stay at home showing me how to clean, because I'm watching those videos because I can't clean to save my life.
Me too.
Oh my God. The weekend they were gone, I was like, we've had some black mold. I hate to say it, on the top of the ceiling because it's the one bathroom that we use. And all of a sudden I was like, how do I get this off? A 1.5-minute video on YouTube finally gave me the best idea. And it was a paint roller. I'd never thought of a paint roller on the ceiling to do the cleaning product, to actually scrape the whole thing. I was like, I tried all kinds of things, but that paint roller got rid of it all. A 1.5-minute video. But that's just it. Like, we need those genius out there of like those tricks that you have as a mom. You need to put out there so I can watch your video and learn how to clean better.
Michelle, that is so true. I just, with you saying that, made me go back to something my mother told me many years ago when I was very young. In fact, I probably was a little kid when she said it, but I still remember it. And I'll disclose my age. I'm 48 years old right now. And so here we are, like over 40 years later. She said, Josie, we need everybody with different skills in this world to do everything. We can't all be the same. So finding your unique abilities is really going to help you propel in the world. And somebody else might want to clean houses. Somebody else might want to be CEO of a big company. Somebody might be a doctor, a lawyer. But finding your unique skills will help you find that purpose-filled passion, or as I like to say, your passion-filled purpose in life.
I love that so much. And I mean, it really just comes back to, as I word it, finding your genius, right? So it's all that same passion-filled purpose, finding your genius. However, again, same concept. We're messaging it differently because it works for each of us, and it resonates with whoever it needs to resonate. And so that's what I love about this. Like, we can talk the same thing, but it resonates with someone else just a little bit differently. So moms, I want to stop you out there and say that I can't. Josie's going to help you say I can.
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest things, Michelle, is we can come at it this way. One of the, I guess I would say superpower, right? I help you find your superpower. I realized something even about myself is that I could either choose, well, let me backtrack for a minute. I can easily shift perspective. It wasn't always that way. There was a time where I couldn't, and I don't need to go back into those big stories, but where I really got stuck in where I was and really had a hard time shifting that perspective. But now I've become a master of it because I've practiced. And I could have come in here going, oh my gosh, Michelle does something really similar to what I do. And we both talk to moms, and she does genius and I do passion and purpose. And wow, I could, and I could have easily just chosen to walk away and be like, nope, we're competitors. But instead I'm like, this is beautiful because she speaks differently than I speak. We both attract different people to us. And now we can serve more people with their needs because somebody's going to resonate with you and somebody's going to resonate with me. And even though we speak on a similar topic, we have very different ways within our own geniuses, and that will resonate. So I might have somebody who really can do well with listening to me, who also can come and do well with working with you as well because of your genius and how you present it.
I love that so much. I want to get rid of that competitiveness from moms saying that, and get the idea. There are 8 billion people in this world. Even if we have the same message, I can't serve all 8 billion people, and neither can you.
Nope, I don't want to. I know how many I can work with, and I've really gotten good at saying this is how many I can, and let me help somebody else. Let me get somebody who I can maybe even mentor to help serve more people.
Like, let me funnel those people onto you because they'll work better with you. And I think that's what it comes down to really is that working together and realizing we each have, I mean, we want the family life and we want all those things. So that does say like there's a certain number of times. So I cannot service 8 billion people and no one wants to. And so let's get out of that competitiveness and let's say, this person will work better with you. This person will work better with you and spread it to that heart-to-heart connection. not the I need the money connection.
Oh gosh, no. Back in my young days in sales, I was trained very well in one of the sales jobs that I had fresh out of university, when I decided to be the big girl and go get a big girl job. And I worked in furniture sales. And, we had this mantra that we would always say. And one of them was, we are sales and profit motivated. I mean, there were 7 steps to selling and this and that, like so many things that we had to learn. But one of the things was, we are sales and profit motivated as a business. And as a 20-year-old girl, 21-year-old girl, hearing that, it embedded deeply into my head for so long. And although it's important to be sales and profit motivated when you're trying to run a business because you need to be successful, that is not the mindset that we need to have. We need to have a serviceful mindset, because then your sales, then your profits, then your money will come. And it's good to have a good relationship with that idea of money and coming at it. But if I were to come to you, I want to sell you this remote control, because I need to sell 12 of these in order to get my bonus, versus, hey, Michelle, you need this remote control because the one you had, you told me it broke. And this one has a few extra features. Like, I can find a reason. And then it serves you. It serves your needs because I listened to you. I didn't try to sell something to you.
I love that so much. And it really is listening to each other. And like you said, it's not just, and we are sales and profit motivated. Like the feel of that is like, ee. And I think that's what makes us think that we can't do this, because it's all about the sales and the profit, and which will lead us. I love that, lead us into the question about success later. But but that's that icky feeling. And that's what we're trying to eliminate by actually bringing out the uniqueness to be a gift to someone else.
Exactly. When I first started my business, I was working with mom entrepreneurs who were struggling with emotional challenges, with actually specifically postpartum anxiety. And I really fell in love with that audience because I was that person for a while. But then I shifted because one friend of mine, a colleague, came. I was helping her with something of her own. And she says, Josie, you light up when you're helping me with my sales and my marketing and I said, well, how specific? And she said, you helped pull out from me what I can do uniquely, what is different. And then it reminded me of another thing I learned in the sales and marketing world, was our unique selling proposition. So what is your unique selling proposition? And I shifted that into, yes, now I'm going to actually work with women entrepreneurs in sales and marketing, because although it comes easy for me, I just assumed everybody else knew what they were doing. But that's not the case. I had to step back and go, no, people do need some support. I've been doing it for 30 years, more than 30 years, actually, but not everybody has that. And not everybody has the ability or desire to want to do it. So when I looked at, okay, when I sell this phone, let's say, what makes this phone unique from your phone that you have? Well, my phone is purple. My phone is actually red, but it has a purple case. Like, finding the uniqueness about this and why it's different than this other one that you may or may not have. So I've taken that and shifted it into the personality and what makes you unique as a person, because people want to know, like, and trust and connect with a person before they buy something. So first and foremost, you can tell me all about your products. You can tell me all about your service. You can tell me all about your coaching or whatever it is you do. But if I don't know, like, and trust you, I don't, pardon me for saying this, but I don't really care what you're selling, because I need to want to do business with you. And so it's so important. And we're not even just talking about business. If you're not a mama entrepreneur and you're just trying to find your way as a mom, also find what makes you unique and work into that and lean into that. But when you are a mom entrepreneur and you're trying to stand out amongst thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, we need to really hone in on you and what makes you unique.
I love that so much. And I mean, when you think about it, though, like, we keep saying there's so many people out there doing their online business, but I feel like that's also curtailed to the fact that once you get into this business, that's your whole feed. And so then you get into that scarcity mindset that there's so many people doing this, I can't do it. But again, that's the social media feeding you whatever you're after. And then it feels like that's all there is. But when you think about there's a lot of, I mean, there's so many moms not doing entrepreneurship but need the support of those that want to do it. Just like you said, it's that listening into the inside and figure out what you want to do and then going with that. And just like you said, it was easy for you, but that doesn't mean it's easy for other people. And that's the part we forget. We're like, oh, well, I can do that. Everyone can do that. No, they can't. That's your unique proposition. That's your genius. That's what you need to get out there if you're feeling called to do it. And again, what is that calling inside of you? It could be anything. It could be that you want to work in a relationship with your marriage. It could be that you want a better relationship with your kids. It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship, but whatever it is inside of you, because we're imperfect. We're never going to be like this perfect person or whatever. We're always striving. We're always growing. And that's where we feel best, is when we're growing. And so it's really growing into that uniqueness and loving it.
Yeah. Loving yourself, loving it. If you're finding something that's feeling adverse to you, I mean, I have strategies. One of the other things I really have leaned into is I've done other talks on it in other platforms, is resiliency and overcoming adversities using different types of tools and stepping into your unique ability to overcome adversities and shift the mindset. And that's one of the biggest things too, when you're not sure where you're at. And sometimes you might feel adverse in your own heart and conflicted. And so how do we overcome that adversity? And it's all about a perspective shift and seeing things for maybe not what you're looking at right now in front of you, but to pull out something unique. We had a situation just this past weekend with a bunch of girls, 9 to 11-year-olds, where I was on a field trip we do Girl Guides here in Canada. And there were 5,000 girls in one space up in our Toronto at this Canadian National Exhibition Center. And holy moly, like, talk about girl energy, woman power. Like, I'm like, this is the future of what we're working with. Not to discount the boys, I have son as well, but in this specific case, we were faced with a challenge. We were faced with an adversity because our bus was supposed to show up and it didn't come for 5.5 hours past the time that we were expecting it. And we could choose to be very sad and revel in this moment of despair. And instead, I gathered the girls around and I said, whoever wants to join in an acknowledgement circle, come and sit with me. So I had about 6. Now, keep in mind, my group wasn't 5,000. I had about 30 girls in my group with some other leaders, but about 6 of those girls came. And I'm not going to go into all the great detail, but we sat around and I invited them to acknowledge what it was that they didn't like about the situation. What made them sad? Let it come out. So acknowledge what your challenge is. But then we found a unique way to shift it. And I said, so now I'm going to invite you to just shift a little bit. And what can you find positive in this situation? Because we're so adverse to finding positivity in negative situations. Instead, oftentimes, especially as adults, we just go in and go, well, I have no skills. This is a bad situation. And we don't think outside of the box. So I was really impressed with these 9 to 11-year-old girls and what they could find as a positive experience in this 9:30 at night where we finally left to drive 4 hours home. And they thought, it was creative, it was interesting, it was unique. Nobody else had the same experience. And that, when I work with girls in our community, and I also look at that with the women who I work with. And I think if we can only start when they're young, to get to the point where when they're 30, they don't have those struggles. Because the women I work with who are 30 and 40 and 50, finding challenges within themselves, it's much harder for them to find that perspective shift. But it's possible through different tools.
I love that so much. And as Josie was saying, it's about starting young and making sure they have the confidence. And the kids circle helps have those conversations to get more of that connection out. But I'm going to jump right in and give Josie our final 5 questions because we are running out of time. Number 1 for you, Josie, what podcast has helped inspire your mom life, business life, any which way you want to take that?
Ooh. Well, it's interesting because my husband is quite the podcaster. He listens to podcasts all the time. And I was not, because I was like, I got to listen. I got to do this. And to me, it seemed like a lot of work until one day I was taking a 3-hour road trip and I'm like, I need something to listen to besides a video. I can't watch it. And I just didn't want to listen to music. So I actually turned on a Sage Levine podcast because she's a woman in business. She inspires, women in business. And so and they're short, they're little easy chunks to listen to. And so that helped me in my business because I was able to listen to different aspects, a 20 to 30-minute podcast. So I'd say most recently, that's probably been the one that got me inspired. But I also listen to a lot of Louise Hay. She's actually about heal your mind, heal your body. And that is a huge, huge inspiration to me with my own physical and mental health.
I love that so much. And actually, number 2, though, I love to bring out the joy more. So I'd love to know some things that you and your family do that just brings lots of joy to your house.
Well, first and foremost, we love ice cream. So I have to say, we go for ice cream. When my kids were really little, I'd pick them up from school and it was a Wednesday. I always say it's a hump day ice cream day. So the middle of the week, I'd pick them up after school and we go for ice cream. And we've continued that tradition. I mean, we've hit and miss some days, but I resumed that tradition recently. So ice cream's our favorite thing, going for walks and bike rides. And reality at nighttime, we all like to snuggle up together and binge watch Modern Family.
I love that. We were been watching some shows too, and I love the ice cream is funny because there's a restaurant around, it's called Cops, and they have a flavor of the day. And my son, one of my favorite flavors is spumoni, was something my dad we had as a kid, and they don't have it very often. But today is my husband's birthday, and my son's like, they have spumoni on Daddy's birthday, except that when we looked it up, it was actually symphony. We're like, just because of an S doesn't mean it's spumoni.
I love spumoni.
But it's so funny. But yeah, and we do that every once in a while, just kind of look at the flavors of the day. But yeah, it's bringing those things that you guys find to do fun together, which leads us into number 3, though, because moms mask behind the idea of busyness. At least I believe so. And so I'm on a mission to get new ideas. So we always ask the question, "How are you doing?" "I'm fine," or you answer, "I'm fine," or "I'm busy," blah blah blah. So I just want to throw it out there to speakers for new ideas, because some people have been tackling new questions, some people saying how not to be busy, however you want to take that. I just want to unmask busyness.
Ooh, unmasked busyness. That's tough because as a mom, even myself just recently, a couple days ago, I actually was talking to my acupuncturist. He's a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, acupuncture. I've had some recent health things go on, so I'm seeking out all of the resources to make sure that I'm healthy and well. And I told him, I says, I've just had this realization that I always feel like I have to be busy every minute of every second of the day. And the minute I step back to take 20 minutes to just sit and eat and not do work beside my lunch, or I feel bad. And it's like, no, I have to crush that belief, because that's the other part of what I teach, crushing limiting beliefs, and just allow myself to sit down. And he said to me, do you know, when you're sitting down, you're still doing something. And that shifted my head. I'm like, so I really still am busy, but it's a good busy where I'm not overwhelming my mind or my body. And so the reality is, when you're doing nothing, you're still doing something. I could be mindfully eating. I could be mindfully watching a Netflix episode of something, because that's nourishing my mind, my heart, my soul. Or it's just being mindless, because sometimes we need to let our brain relax and sleep and not think about anything.
Yes, so much so. I love that so much. And that kind of leads us into number 4. We've kind of touched on that a little bit, but throughout it. But I'm on a thing, let's define success for each of us. Had to happen when you weren't answering. But what is your definition of success, and how do you celebrate it?
Wow, a definition of success can be so multifaceted. And I try to model for my children that you could have success in anything. You don't have to just necessarily go your whole life, go to school, land a really big job, and suddenly you're successful. I manage success in micro successes, in the little things that we accomplish each day. For example, I woke up today. That's a big success, right? I woke up. I'm grateful for that. But I look at it every single day of what was my success in the moment, in today, and even breaking that down into what was my success this afternoon or this morning, or even in each hour. What did I succeed? Whether it be bringing my kid the lunch that they might have forgotten in the fridge and bringing it to school, or speaking to a prospective new client and actually getting an agreement to work together for a year. So there's so many different successes.
It's so true. And then that leads to our last question, is how do we encourage more inspiring genius in our kids?
Model it. This is something you've even heard me talk about on the mom panel that we've been on together. And I'm all about modeling because our children are watching us even when we think they're not. And if we can model to them what we aspire them to achieve or to be, that's how they're going to do it. Teaching is one thing, but modeling is the key, I think, to all of it with our children. My kids see me do what I do. And my daughter now is saying, Mom, I would really like to be a speaker on your festival. Or Mom, you're on that festival. Do you think I could? And my son, he's a little bit more shy, but he sees the way I show up in, like, he's sciencey. So he came to me and said, Mom, I'm going to do a project on this and I'm going to choose this topic. And it's all about anatomy and physiology. But I talk about that all the time. So they pull from what we do. So modeling.
It's so funny. My middle daughter doesn't want to be in lives, but also she's like, why haven't you and Lily been doing lives during the rest of the festival? And I was like, well, she just seemed like she was tired. I was like, oh, do you want to do one this morning? And we actually did do one this morning. Just a quick one after our morning circle. And I realized I posted to my page instead. So then I just had to share it to the group. It was just so funny how, like, when we do these things fast and like, but they do what we do. And on that note, we are really running out of time, but can you tell everyone how they can get a hold of you if you have a free gift for anyone and your final takeaway?
Yes, for sure. You can reach me most of the time. I hang out easily on Facebook. It's the easiest way. Facebook Messenger. It's easy. You'll find me at Josie Lepore Freeborn, exactly the way my name is shown here. For those of you who are watching, Josie LoPorto Freeborn. You can reach me on Instagram as Josie L Freeborn as well. I try to keep it simple, just with my name. Those are the easiest ways. And one of the biggest takeaways is connecting with our children and help them find their genius young so that they can nurture that genius and still change it. They can pivot. I've pivoted so many times, but if somebody had come to me when I was 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, or 10 and maybe helped me, I probably would not have gone the one direction that I went to because I thought I had to be like everybody else. And my mom did do that to me afterwards. And she says, no, find your own genius, find your own unique thing. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, is working with your children and helping them find their own genius early on. And then a free gift, if anybody wants to, I have, from the sales and marketing perspective, I have a free gift where you can actually craft your own unique ideal client. So who is your unique client that you want to work with? Because I work with manifestation. And so we have a questionnaire that you can fill out to help you discover who you want to talk to. And oftentimes you'll realize it was maybe who you were in the past.
Oh, I love that so much. I'm definitely looking into that one. Well, thank you so much, Josie, for coming on and showing us that unique power inside of each of us and how to unleash it a little bit more. And just, I'm so grateful that you came on today.
Thanks for having me, Michelle. I love it when we get together and have our conversations. They're so fun.
It is. I'm going to throw you backstage while you get to listen to my takeaways from today.
Awesome.
Josie was just amazing. I mean, getting right in there, finding your uniqueness, which stands out, and making sure that we're listening to figuring that out. We want to be creative about it and discover the part that we didn't know inside of us as well. So let's get into our tips. So number one is, again, finding what makes you stand out. But the question is how. In sales and marketing, especially as a mompreneur, we're a lot of times too close to it. So we kind of need to search our heart, search our soul. Then we might need an outside perspective, a coach, a friend, someone who can give us that guiding place once we kind of give those words out there, but can help us, as we were talking about, those little pings, but then can shape those pings for us into one cohesive message. So a lot of times that comes from an outside source, which I've also learned. Number two is really that mompreneur idea, that thinking that we have no skills inside of us, but really the skills also come from being a mom. What are the things that you do every day, but what are the things that you gravitate in your daily stuff that you actually enjoy doing? For me, it's definitely not cleaning, but I have been using those YouTube videos to figure out how to do better from those of you that do love doing it. And I'm so grateful that you do, because I don't. And so it's really putting those skills out there, thinking that, oh, everyone can do it. The truth is, no, not everyone can do it. I wholeheartedly cannot clean, admit it wholeheartedly, but I will get expertise from those of you that can. And so it's getting inside that genius. It feels easy to you. It is not easy to everyone else, because that is your genius. That is what you should be getting out here, which then leads us into the concept number 3 of it is your superpower. When you start to shift those perspectives and things and finding your own messaging and realizing that is who you are, that uniqueness inside of you, that genius inside of you, which then leads us into number 4 about that sales. Josie brought up that mantra, we are sales and profit motivated, like it, because it's not. It's that heart-to-heart connection. And it's really finding that and saying, how can I improve your life? How can I give you some kind of offer that's going to help you? Not that I'm trying to make sure that I get my sales quota, but I'm making sure that your life, you're unlocking your genius more because of what I'm offering. And that's where it comes from, because it comes from the idea of service, not just to make my quota. And so that's what it really comes down to. And that makes it feel, because that's the right way to do it. And then it feels good and it's easier to do. All of a sudden we take that ick out of sales, which then leads us into number 5, which is your unique selling proposition. Because it's just as easy for me to say that it's your ability. And again, you're so close to it that you might not see it. And a lot of times we do need that outside perspective. You want it, because honestly, when you are buying from someone, you want to know, like, and trust them. And so what is the way to do that is getting your uniqueness out there, showing that business side of it and loving it, showing that resilience of who you are because of that perspective shift that you're doing along the way. And you might, as she was telling that last story about the girls, and the situation is, a lot of times, this is a bonus for you, is that perceptive shift is we acknowledge those challenges and then we say, how do we make a positive spin on it? But we have to acknowledge it first and then say, well, now that we've acknowledged it, what can we do next? How can we see this differently? And that's what I will leave you with today. And thank you so much, Josie, for coming on today. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Mama Genius Hub podcast. If you found value in our conversation, please share this episode with another mama who might benefit. Sharing helps us build a supportive community and reach out to more mamas like you. After all, it's more fun when we do motherhood together. Until next time, stay motivated and continue to pursue your dreams as you shine in your genius.